Imagine you're dropped into the middle of a battlefield. On one side, trainers with squeezy cheese, high-value treats and harnesses. On the other, a brigade armed with prong collars and e-collars. Each side claiming to have the ultimate solution to your dog's training. It's overwhelming, to say the least. Well, welcome to the world of online dog training debates. If you spent at least 5 minutes searching for advice on the internet, you've probably felt like a confused bystander caught in the crossfire of a war between methods. One trainer insists you need a prong collar, while the other swears you could never, ever tell a dog no. Treats are the only way. E-collars are great, e-collars are dangerous. Who do you listen to? Today I want to cut through the noise and confusion. If you feel like you're in the middle of the dog training equivalent of Bloods versus Crips, afraid to do anything with your dog for fear of harming your relationship or causing your doggy depression, then this video is for you. By the end of this video, I'm going to explain a key concept you need to understand if you want your dog to be truly happy, what actually makes your dog happy, and finally, the missing piece of the puzzle you're probably overlooking to truly unlock your dog's happiness. And amazingly, it's something so many dog trainers online tell you not to do. But before we dive into that, we need to make a very important distinction. A fundamental concept that's often misunderstood, not just in the dog world, but the human world too, the difference between happiness and pleasure. Pleasure is a fleeting feeling, often linked to a physical sensation or specific experience, like eating your favorite food, watching a good film, or getting a massage. It's often triggered by something outside of us. It's sensory and often associated with the immediate gratification of desires. However, it does come with diminishing returns. The more you indulge in it, the less satisfying it becomes over time. For instance, the first bite of chocolate is amazing, but the fifth bar, not so much. Happiness is more of a sustained state, not just a momentary feeling. It's about contentment and overall life satisfaction. It's influenced more by internal factors like your mindset and values and how you perceive and react to life circumstances. It builds up over time through meaningful relationships, a sense of purpose and personal growth. Unlike pleasure, happiness doesn't diminish with repetition. It can actually deepen.
In essence, pleasure is like having a nice pint at the end of a long day. Enjoyable, but temporary. Happiness, on the other hand, is more like feeling content with the life you've built, your job and your relationships, even on a rainy day.
And I know that might have sounded a little bit hocus pocus, but I promise you I'm going somewhere with this. For our dogs, pleasure might be getting that tasty treat or playing with their favorite toy or getting cuddles on the couch. It's those moments that make their tails wag. But happiness, that's deeper. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what I mean. So yes, treats, toys, and play can deliver pleasure, but they don't automatically lead to happiness. Although common dog training advice in 2024, constantly giving your dogs treats, unlimited access to toys, never saying no or shielding them from every little stressor, this might seem like the path to a happy dog, but it's actually pushing them further away from true happiness. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you shouldn't play with your dog or give them tasty treats or let them enjoy life. Far from it. But don't fall into the trap of thinking this is all they need to be happy. Think of it this way. Imagine you've got a child and you want them to be happy, so you buy them all the candy they want, you let them stay up as late as they want, and never make them do their homework and protect them from any disappointment or discomfort. Sure, they're going to be thrilled at first, but is that going to make them a well-rounded, well-adjusted adult? Probably not. Same applies to your dog. If we just focus on giving them momentary pleasure and avoiding any form of stress or discomfort, we're setting them up for failure. We're not teaching them how to cope with the real world. So what does make our dog happy? The answer is actually pretty simple. It's not constant treats or unlimited toys. It's fulfillment. It's a feeling of sense of purpose and meeting their natural instincts, tapping into that deep-rooted instinct to be a dog. For humans, the search for purpose can be a lifelong quest, discovering our calling and what truly makes us tick. But for dogs, it's often far more straightforward. They've been bred over generations for specific tasks, whether that's herding sheep or retrieving game or guarding the home. These instincts are still very much alive and they need to be expressed. Now, that doesn't mean you need to enlist your Malinois into the military just to fulfill his needs or rush to the farmer's market to buy a flock of sheep for your border collie. It's simpler than that. It's about providing more opportunities for sniffing, digging, running, chasing, and exploring. In short, it's about letting them truly be dogs. But what if your dog's behavior is just so out of control that you can't even begin to fulfill those instincts? What if every time you let them off leash, they do something they shouldn't? This is where the key to happiness comes in, and ironically, it's vilified by trainers all over the internet. That answer is no. You see, when your dog understands the concept of no, or to put it more emphatically, don't fucking do that, they can't be entrusted with more freedom. This means they can't explore more places, have more social interactions, and generally just do more with you. For instance, they might be able to go off lead more often because they grasp the idea of not chasing that pesky bird, or they can visit grandma with the confidence that jumping up isn't acceptable and it won't put a hip replacement at risk. Sure, I can limit their access to express that particular unwanted behavior, but that often comes with its own set of limitations, ultimately closing off my dog's world. It's about finding the balance between allowing freedom and maintaining the boundaries that kept them and everyone around them safe. Imagine a dog as a ship sailing through the night, and that all-important no is the lighthouse on the shore. It doesn't restrict the ship's journey, it simply signals stay clear of this danger, but enjoy the open waters ahead. If that lighthouse were out of order, the ship would be forced to remain docked, waiting for daylight, or worse, risking a perilous voyage in the dark, hoping that someone eventually repairs the guiding light. Without that beacon, the vast, exciting ocean becomes a treacherous, uncharted territory. Boundaries aren't barriers. They're the guiding light that allows our dogs to safely explore the world beyond the harbour. Your dog understanding the word no is key to their happiness, because without it, we'd start to close off their world. The dog that doesn't understand boundaries or limits is like a child who's never been taught right from wrong. They're going to struggle in the real world. And this is where the concept of no becomes not just important, but essential. If my dog is unhappy and unfulfilled and unexercised because his behavior is too dangerous, then I'm more than happy to tell him one particular behavior is not okay. I'd rather correct a dangerous behavior and open up more opportunities for fulfillment than close off his world out of fear of him potentially getting something wrong. Teaching your dog boundaries is like giving them a map and a compass. Without it, they're literally playing a constant guessing game and might end up being lost. With it, they can explore the world confidently. It's the difference between a dog that takes the world in his stride, clarity of what he is and isn't allowed to do, versus a dog that's constantly on the lookout for the next best thing, no matter how much trouble it's going to get him in. Example, here's me out on a walk with my dog Ranger. Since he knows he's not allowed to jump up at children or run up to other dogs on lead, he can choose from literally 1,000 other things he is allowed to do. Conversely, here's a video of Woody, who's about to start our board and train program. Since he doesn't understand the word no, I have to keep him on lead for the simple reason that he can't be trusted not to do these things. Now, let me ask you, which dog is happier? That's right, the one who knows what no means. Think of no as the quad rails on a winding mountain road. It's not there to prevent you from enjoying the view. It's there to stop you from going over the edge. It's there to keep you safe so you can appreciate the journey. Without them, you might have to take the much longer, less scenic route, or just never get there at all. When we're stuck in this cycle of trying to compensate for lack of fulfillment with pleasure, we're not solving the problem, we're just putting a band-aid on it. We give more treats, more toys, more attention, short-term fun, thinking it will make our dogs happy, but it doesn't. And this is where the online gurus often miss the mark. They'll tell you never to teach a dog no. Just reward the good behavior and ignore the bad, or manage their environment until the bad behavior goes away. But is managing your dog's environment, keeping them on leash forever, creating them when guests come over, walking them at 6 a.m. just to avoid other triggers, really what you want to do for the rest of their life? I doubt it. Yes, positive reinforcement training works. I'm not denying that. And it's an exceptionally powerful tool when understood correctly. But believing it's the solution for each and every case just isn't realistic. It's utopian. There are some unwanted behaviors that are so strong that no matter how much reward we throw at the alternate behaviors, they just won't go away without the appropriate consequence. That's when we need to be honest with ourselves. Do we close our dog's world in fear of them doing something unwanted, or do we teach them what no means and correct their behavior? If we can agree that happiness is a byproduct of fulfillment, then we're going to have a hard time fulfilling our dogs if we're constantly closing out their world in fear of them making a mistake. But there's a second layer to this concept that could change your perspective on dogs and dog training forever. When your dog has more opportunities, it opens the door to discovering new, safe hobbies. A dog that's managed carefully, one confined to a leash, stuck at home, or endlessly chasing its tail in a small dog park remains completely unaware of the wider world possibilities. Only when we give them that freedom can we truly harness the power of differential reinforcement. Instead of relying solely on treats, we can reward with something far more potent, your dog's natural desire to, well, be a dog. By allowing them to explore, interact, and engage with their environment, we can reinforce behaviors that tap into their instincts and fulfill their needs in a meaningful way. So the next time you find yourself entrenched in a dog training battleground, remember this: it's not about choosing sides or tallying up followers like it's some sort of popularity contest. Forget who's flaunting the fanciest jargon or parading the most impressive credentials. Instead, turn around, look your dog in the eye, and ask yourself, are they genuinely happy? True happiness isn't merely a fleeting moment. It's rooted in fulfillment and the expression of our dog's innate desires. To unlock that joy, we must establish the right boundaries. Understand this: the word no is not the villain here. It's an essential tool that could enhance your dog's life in ways that you might never have imagined. Sometimes setting boundaries is the key that unlocks a happier, more fulfilled dog.